Well, hi, this is Custom Works, and I'm Clint Allen. This is the basic injector rebuild. Now, I don't care who you've watched in the past, every Jack Palace out there has got a rebuild video. I'm going to show you here how to do it right, and the whys and the whats. So, if you are new here, come on and join the community. Down in the description box below is all of our playlists, easy for you to find. 7.3 sensors, 7.3 debunking videos, our tech talk videos, our hands-on videos, our regular videos, and if that isn't enough for you, there's even more in our video library. So come and get the correct information. We're not out in our driveway here making videos off of our cell phones laying on the ground in the gravel. So, items that you're going to need for this basic rebuild is going to be, and this will be down in the description, is non-marring picks. Don't be going after injectors with metal picks. Non-marring picks is what you need to get. Now, I don't care if you run down to your local box store, your local auto store and get those. The point is get yourself some non-marring picks. Next, what we're going to need is some 1540 diesel oil. We're going to need some Hyper Rebuild Lube. We're going to need some BRAKLEEN. And we're going to need some degreaser. All down in the description below. If you've seen some of these building videos, just dismiss what you've seen and heard so we can show you the correct way of doing this. Now, after everything has been cleaned, and I mean cleaned really well, they always show you on these videos at the end to put your O-rings on. We don't want to be stretching these, nor do we want to be putting oil on these O-rings for the oil to sit on the inside behind the O-ring, causing a quick failure. So, taken apart right here, and you always see these guys struggle. You always see them struggle to get these O-rings on. Real simple. Boom. Wasn't that a piece of cake? Let's take the second one. That goes right here. Down into place. And then turn it a bit, because what we don't want is this being bound up anywhere. So get that. And then push it all the way towards the top, because remember, you're going to be putting this in to a injector cup. So get this positioned right away where it needs to be. Take your fingernail, and get that in the up position. So we got that done. Then, here's the metal ring. The metal ring that I told you to keep on. If you're jumping into this video and you did not see the first, second, or third in our injector series, I would highly demand almost that you go back and watch those videos. The #1 video telling you about the POWERSTROKE injectors. The #2 video showing you how they work, watching how they work, how the whole system works. #3, how to tear them down. 2 different ways. One the professional way, and the other one is the way that most of you will be doing, and that's part of our quick tech talk, but it's also in the injector series. So here we've got this barrel right here. And this O-ring right here needs to go in next, and that goes on the inside. So as I've shown before, you gotta squeeze it on down, curl it, and then set it down in here. And this is a bit of a bugger. Then what you'll do is take your pick and this is real difficult to see, but you'll just push it down in there. So you get it down there, and you've got it like this. So just like that. You get this edge and this edge into the inset on the inside of the barrel. So it starts going in like that. And then you use your pick to push this side down and then this side down. And then last, run it around like this. Make sure that it's completely set inside of the barrel itself. Then get your finger inside and double check. Make sure that it's sitting in there flat, it's not curled in any way. So we're good there. Then we have this one right here. Now once again, these are all different sizes, so you can't screw up where they go. And you will receive, no matter what kit you get, you're going to receive a picture, a diagram of everything broken down. So you'll be just fine there. Now, once again, do not use any oil, grease, anything to pre-lubricate here. We don't want to end up having any type of lubricant underneath here. It just helps in the long duration of the rebuild itself. Now I told you to leave the metal ring on right here. If you're just jumping into this video, when you pull out the O-rings off of this section of the injector, there's a metal ring. Keep that metal ring on there. Don't remove it. So the metal ring has a splice in it. So set one splice, you know, as you're looking at it. At 3 o'clock, take your second one that comes in the kit, and let's set that at 9 o'clock. All right, so why? That is the #1 place where injectors normally blow out. Right where that little piece of metal doesn't quite meet, even though it's going to be sitting a little bit down inside of the injector in the head. It's just, we want to double that up to stop blowouts in the future. So one metal ring at 3, the other metal ring at 9. And it does not make a difference if one is stacked in a different way. I don't care if you put the top one at 3 and the bottom one at 9, or the bottom one at 3 and the top at 9. Don't care, just as long as they're on completely different sides of each other. Then we've got the square one that goes on next. And then when you're putting these on, do not roll them. So let's go through and make sure that this is not rolled and it's laying completely flat. So we got that handled, and then we have the O-ring, the round one, and that goes on next. And make sure you press that into place, because now we have no gaps in here whatsoever. Over time, that'll help keep that oil inside of here instead of blowing out. So we've got all the O-rings on here. We have all the O-rings on here. Last O-ring that we need to put on is going to be right here. This is an easy one. Right here, and that's an easy one. We just simply take it, no oil, no lubricant, no nothing. Can only fit in there in one way. This one goes in real easy. Do the inside first. For O-rings, do the inside of this barrel first. It's the hardest one to do. It's a pain in the old arse, and everything else will be easy after this. So next on the list here, what we've got going is we're going to be putting in the intensifier. So Q-tip, Super Lube, Super Lube once again. Let's put that on the O-ring on the inside. And let's get this in place. Set it on in there. It's going to give you resistance. Take your finger, give it a good push down. Use your pick and get it all the way down to the bottom. Next, we've got the plunger. This is what the plunger looks like. That goes down in here. Next we've got is the spring. That goes right down in there. We have 2 pins. One pin goes here, one pin goes there. Next we have the plunger and barrel assembly. We've got the check ball that needs to go here. Your kit is going to come with a new ball. Set that ball down inside of here, like so. This right here has a hole in it. That hole goes over the top of that ball bearing, that check. Slide it. Slide it on there so the hole in the sleeve lines up with the ball bearing, the check ball. Make sure the check ball has stayed in its hole. All right, so this is all ready to go, and I'm just going to set that here. And now what we want to do is pre-prime this. Pre-prime that plunger with diesel just short of before it comes out. Next, now we're going to do this and put these on the pin. So that's sitting on the pins right there. We have the second alignment pins. Goes right here. Then we have the check valve assembly. So we're going to have this right here. We have the little puck that goes in here. And we have the brand new check ball that goes in here. Dab of oil up on top. And then basically we've got the cover. So voila, that's what that looks like all put together. So that sets down there. Then next what we have is this barrel right here. Now if you look at this barrel really close, what you're going to see is that one side is basically square and the other side has a really tiny little bevel in it, just a slight bevel. So what we want to do is have the bevel facing up. So I'm going to set this barrel on here. Bevel is up. Put my spring in here. Put my little pin in there. Take this puck, set it in there. I have a small alignment pin. Another small alignment pin. And that is how that looks right there. Then we've got this nozzle pin, and then we've got the nozzle. So right here we're going to use some slick assembly lube. Just get a little bit up on the top end. Now we're not changing oil in a car here, we just want to have this with a little bit of slick lube on it. It's going to do two things for us. Number one, it's a lubricant. and it's going to make the pin slide real quick. Number two, it's going to hold it in place while we do this. So voila, this right here is probably the simplest way to do this. It may not seem that way, but this way you're able to pre-fill the piston with diesel fuel, and you're not trying to get down into the barrel with these small little tiny parts. Makes sense? Like I said, I'll show you the other direction in the quick tech talk, but either which way. So now we get this set on here. So I'm just going to snug this up. We'll do the actual torquing, not twerking, torquing, once we flip it around to the other side. I'll just run her down snug for now. And this is 75 foot-pounds. Now, depending on whatever kit you get, you're going to get something similar to this. Set her on top. Get your torque wrench in there. And there we go, 75 foot-pounds. If you've never used a torque wrench before, make sure you take all the pressure off of it before storing it back away. That way it stays as true as possible. So next we're going to work on the oil side. So now on this plate right here, this has a little hole right here, a little vent hole, and a little vent hole right there. What we need to do is open that up to 1/8 of an inch. And we'll be doing that on the bottom and the bottom only. So off that comes, and we must make really sure that there are no left behind aluminum pieces. Take your utility knife, just like a hone. Get all the burrs off of there. All right, so that's good right there. Let's get this mounted back in here again. So here we have the poppet. Now this is critical on the direction that it goes. And I'm gonna switch out a camera here so you get a better idea of what's going on. All right, so we put the poppet down in here. And if you watch the injector tear down, this has to be in a specific place. I'll adjust it once we get more put together here. So then we have the spring. And let's go ahead with the 1540, and let's get this pre-primed. So fill her on up with oil and move this up and down until you see a little bit of oil come out on the side here. Then go ahead and top it off. All right, perfect. By putting diesel into the intensifier right away, by putting the 1540 into the top of the poppet right away, we've pre-primed the unit. Now you have no way of throwing it into a tester. This is the way to pre-prime it. That way, when you watch the video, or if you have watched the video on proper start procedure after changing injectors or cups, this right here will help this thing fire. Bam! Hell of a lot quicker, if not immediately. So, some more mistakes that I've seen online, which is just sad, is that we have got the top part of this injector case, and there is a little indent right here. We've got this little indent right here. That has to be downstream, downward. So when you took apart the injector initially, we had this unit right here. We have the diverter. The diverter goes on right here. This is the way it sits. Diverter up on top. That little teardrop down on the bottom end. Down at the bottom part of the head on the exhaust manifold. How's that? Exhaust manifold, that's where the teardrop has got to go. It can't be facing upwards. So now we got this sorted out right here in the direction that it's supposed to be. And I'm going to show that one more time here. So this is the top of the injector. This is bottom of the injector. This teardrop right here has to be on the bottom. So we've already installed our O-ring right here. And now we have these two units right here. So we have the poppet shim. So we have the poppet shim and the guide. Same way it came out. Let's take a little bit of hyper lube. Get the hyper lube on there. Once again, a little dab will do you. And you'll know you're putting it in the right direction because right here you've got the holes where the screws are for making them recessed. Here's the back side. Push it in just like so. Give it a little bit of a turn. So this poppet has to be in a specific direction also. And let me get this placed on here. Got the 4 screws. When you get a rebuild kit, the bits will come along with the rebuild kit. This is not a place for power tools. Get these snugged on down. You're pushing up against a spring, so we don't want to be going sideways or wonky. Just take your time. Get them in there snug. Then what we want to do is go and torque them. 7 Newton meters. Crisscross. All right, so we have that. So this poppet has to be facing a certain direction. Now this adapter needs to be sitting in a certain direction. Now we remember the teardrop is back here, that's inside this barrel here. This is the top, right here. This is the oil diverter hole, right there. So oil diverter hole has got to be up, and of course that's going to match up with the clamp because it fits in just like the poppet. Then needs to be facing a specific direction. So we've got the bottom again, we've got the top, and the poppet needs to be sitting the long way here. Next is going to be the armature. You're going to get a brand new armature screw. The part that you need is going to be in the kit. So we're going to screw that on down. That is going to be 2 Newton meters. So we're just going to take the adjustable to hold on to it. And there we go. So if that comes, make sure you square up the armature. Then we've got our spacer right here. And this is where we drilled the hole. We drilled that hole right there. That's got to go towards the bottom. And then we would go through and put the solenoid on, but let's measure this up first. So what I like to see on a basic rebuild for the armature is 0.0035 from underneath the armature to the base. So we are not there. So what we do is remove the armature. Remove the plate. Take the plate off. And let's remove this shim right here. And then we've got some 1000 wet dry, and on an extremely flat, set her down. On an extremely flat surface, set it down. Now we're only taking off like 1/8 of a thickness of a piece of paper, so let's not get carried away. All right. Let's get that wiped down. Make sure we didn't leave any sanding files. We'll then go back through, put it back on. Pop it back in here. We're going to turn it, make sure it's seated. It's a little tight, so we'll use the pliers. I'm just twisting it and I'm pushing it a little bit, make sure it's seated. Just to be sure, I'm going to give it a good push again. Don't forget, oil diverter side goes up. Let's get them screwed back down. Retorqued. That's to number 7 Newton meters. Get the armature back on. We'll get this torqued. Got that. Got a runner. Take my .0035. Hit her up again. So I'm real happy with that. We're at .0035. That is perfect. All right, we're going to take this again. This is where we drilled the hole right here. That goes to the bottom side, down to the bottom. So we got that. Run her down, crisscross. So now once they're snugged up, let's hit it with 2 Newton meters. And what we've got here is one fine rebuild. Cover a few topics here. So to install the copper on the tip right here, it makes no difference the direction, none whatsoever. It's not going to benefit you anyway. Just go set her on there like so. Grab a 11/32 socket and tap it down so it bottoms out. Real simple, real easy. When you're installing these, you got to make sure that that copper doesn't fall off. So you might want to take a little dab of super glue and just put it underneath there if you're worried about that, and then put the copper down in place, and that little dab of super glue will hold it in place until you get where it needs to go. So to test the tip, to make sure that the tip is not blocked up, piece of paper toweling, and I bet you're wondering what we had the brake clean out for. Put the tip of the brake clean about halfway in there, cover off the end so it doesn't blast you back in the face. And this is what we're looking for. Hopefully you picked that up on camera. But that way you'll know if all the ports on the injector tip are all sitting open or if they need some more cleaning. Whatever you do, do not be shoving anything in these holes. Force it out either with air pressure or with a little bit of brake clean. Once again, I'm going to show you how to do this in the inverted form, but this right here is just the best way to do this. We want to get that intensifier piston filled. We want to get the poppet filled up with oil. Some of that is going to come out while it's sitting, but we've got some pre-prime going for us, and that's going to help you get it fired up. Now, I know you've seen in a few videos where they take a grinder and they grind out a square hole right here. This will do everything you need it to do. Why? Because you remember, so if you remember right in here, that little inlet, that's going to take most of the oil out of here, but if there's an excessive amount, it will come out through here and drain itself. So that is how you do a basic rebuild and how to do it right the first time. So I hope you've learned something, and you take it easy and you have a good day.